This is Ilya from Worn&Wound, and today we're going to take a look at the Partitio from Stowa. The Partitio was originally a watch that Stowa produced in the 1930s, sharing largely the same design but a different case. And Stowa brought the watch back in 2008. Originally, it was sold through Manufactum, a German retailer, before becoming a regular piece in Stowa's catalog. The watch comes in two flavors. The dial that you see here, white with parchment loom, and this version has a hand-wound 2801 movement. And the other one is a black dial, and that was the original piece that Stowa had produced. And you can get both watches with either the standard 2824 or the 2801 that you see here. The watch retails for approximately 580 euros, which today is 660 USD, give or take. And it's a great piece within the collection, so let's take a closer look. The case on the Partitio is relatively simple but effective. It comes in at a subdued 37 millimeters with a lug-to-lug height of 47 millimeters. So it does wear small by modern standards, but the added lug length does give it a bit more presence. The width between the lugs is 18 millimeters, which goes a long way in allowing you to swap out straps and things like that. From the side, you can see that the watch is relatively thin, which is due to the hand-wound movement, the 2801. And you can also see the high polish finish, which is incredibly attractive and well done. The crown is signed, which is always a nice touch. And on the back, Stowa lays it out pretty simply. There's 6 screws going around the perimeter, and it just lays out some information. So you have the Stowa brand name, the model number, the sapphire crystal, and the 5 atmosphere depth rating. The dial on the Partitio is incredibly attractive. It's very simple but effective in the way all the information is sort of laid out. The dial itself is white. It has a very fine texture that might not be visible to the naked eye, but it almost looks like sort of like an eggshell-like texture. Contrasting the white dial is the hours index, which is colored in this very attractive parchment-colored loom. It's a very soft look, but it looks very clean and effective. Each hour is bordered in a very fine black outline. The precision of the printing is impeccable, and watches 3 times the price sometimes fail to get a detail like this right. That sort of fine, precise printing is carried over to the logo, to the Partitio model name at the bottom of the dial above the 6. The hands are an older syringe style type, very similar to the ones found on the historical model. And an interesting detail on this particular piece is that the second hand does not have a counterbalance, which goes a long way in further removing any sort of excess clutter from the dial. The whole layout is incredibly effective and attractive. So when you order a Stowa, you have a number of options. The one that came with this watch is a sort of very standard brown textured calfskin strap. It's a good strap. I don't really have any complaints about it. It's a little dull in perhaps in appearance, but it works well with the general sort of look of the watch. The watch wears quite well on the wrist. As I mentioned, it's 37 millimeters. My wrist is 6 3/4 of an inch. And it looks pretty good. It doesn't look too small, it doesn't look too big. The added lug length kind of gives it a bit more presence, but not too much. Overall, it's a very nice appearance. It's a bit dressy, it's a bit sporty. I would feel comfortable wearing a t-shirt and a pair of jeans with this, or even if I had to wear a suit, I don't think it would look completely out of place. The white dial Partitio is actually very versatile. I swapped it out for this whiskey cordovan strap that we sell. And it does a great job sort of picking up the tone of the parchment loom. I've also had it on burgundy straps, which offers a nice little contrast. Overall, there's a lot that you can do with this strap. In the summer, you could probably put a NATO on it and it'll look great. The Partitio is not the first watch you think of when you think of Stowa. The brand has the iconic Flieger series, the marine chronometers, the Antea line, all much more definitive for the brand. But the Partitio is definitely worthy of your consideration, even though it's not the most famous watch in the Stowa lineup. You know, there's a lot packed into a very small package. You have the solid movement, you have the German construction, the finely printed dial. It's definitely a versatile watch that could go a long way in a collection. So please read the full review at Worn&Wound, and thanks for listening.